let's say the worst happens, right? Let's say they lose to the Warriors and then are somehow upset by either San Antonio or Memphis. A very unlikely scenario. The second part, by the way, very unlikely. But man, if they don't make the playoffs, like the fact that they're in this position to begin with, it is already troublesome, right? We know the injury concerns were there and all that, but you got to think, man, like to be in this position where you probably might, where it's a possibility that you might not even make the playoffs. It's like it's got to weigh on them a little bit. It's got to weigh on them a little bit, and really, does that affect like the way people kind of view this team, like even like go moving forward? You think?
Well, if they lose, if they don't make the playoffs, I think it's open season on the Lakers. If that's that again,
Mm,
that's worst case scenario. That
right.
would be unbelievable. They can't. That's not an impossibility for this team. It just can't happen. Right? It's just not within the realm of possibility. I think they'll smack Memphis or San Antonio. They'll neither of those teams are good. Right? Like
Right.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Is that Steph makes the Warriors like one game potential, even if the Warriors as a team are not great. Steph's one game potential that they could be world beaters on any given night, right? But the Grizzlies and the Spurs, that they're not that, right? For as awesome as John Morant is, or as brilliant as Greg Popovich is, they're just not great teams. They're fine, and the Lakers should smack them around in a one game set. But I think that you got to win this. Like I think that you got to win this game if you're LeBron. It's not just about the game. It's not just about the play in. It's not just about seeding. It's about his legacy's on the line here. He's trying to catch Jordan. He's chasing ghosts at this point in his career, and losing this game is not great. I get that maybe you'd rather face Utah than Phoenix. Maybe I don't know. Uh, but you got to win this game. I think at the end of the day, that's kind of it. Is you got to give your all to this game. He played the last few days to get himself ready, and AD dropped 42 last week, and you say okay. Today's the day you show up. Today's the day that you show up. Both of y'all drop 30, and you put the Warriors away because besides Steph, they're not good enough to beat you, right? Besides Steph and Draymond, the Warriors are not good enough to match up with the Lakers, and that has to carry the day if you're the Lakers franchise. And if it doesn't, well, maybe that's some looking in the mirror about what the future holds, given that LeBron is 36 going on 37, and that you got KCP locked up to a long-term contract, and you got to re-sign Montrezl Harrell, and you got I think what's his name is locked up too. I'm really blanking on names today. Give me the point guard. I'm struggling with names today. I don't know what it is, but
You leaving LeBron? Point
no,
guard
no,
for
no,
the
no,
Lakers, LeBron.
no, 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 no. I mean, freaking from OKC in the trade.
You mean
Schroeder,
Schroeder?
Dennis Schroeder. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
my man Dennis
I think
Schroeder.
I think they got him for what, like 2 more years, something like that. So they got some decisions to make about how they're going to structure this team around an aging LeBron who showed some weakness this year, and an AD who has never proven to be able to stay healthy. And that's kind of the question if you're
Huh?
talking about long term perception. If they lose this game, but the question is like, really, are those question marks gone just because they win this game? Like one game is going to change
No.
all those
No,
things? I
look,
don't
the
think
fact
so.
that they're, like I said, the fact that they're in this position to begin with is a little bit of an indictment on this team. And again, like I said, again, the injury concerns, like, they're there, but that's part of the game. Like, LeBron James at this point, what is he, like 35 at this point, right? He's
36.
36. He's no spring chicken. He even says he'll never be 100% ever again in his career. AD, like you said, consistently, like every other year, seems to find a way to, like, get injured, get nicked up, and then so again, it's like, can they overcome these things that are just bound to happen at this point? Because LeBron, like we said, not going to get any younger. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people would say that they might need to bring in another starter. A lot of people, other people would say they might need someone on the team already to elevate their game. And there's one
Taylor Horton
specific.
Tucker.
I mean, yeah, there's a few players out there who could probably elevate their game, but then again, are they capable of doing that? We don't know. Again, we'll
Yeah,
we'll
I think
see.
it's very interesting. I think the Lakers' long-term prospects are very interesting because you're talking about a team that's gonna need to acquire a quote-unquote third star, right? A guy who can help ease the load on LeBron. And we thought for a little bit it could be Bradley Beal, but
Hmm.
the NBA is renegotiating its TV deals in 2024, so you're probably looking at another cap spike similar to the one that allowed KD to sign with the Warriors. Maybe the NBA learns their lesson this time around and smooths the cap out over a few years, as opposed to allowing the ridiculous spike that will let a team like the Lakers or Clippers sign a third star to complete them. But the question is, can you use that money and who's going to be available, right? It's what team lets a player go, who demands out of their contract. Anything can kind of happen. You saw it with Harden and Butler, in recent year, and Kyrie and Paul George and Kawhi in recent years, with the volatility of stars moving around. And while it looks like right now everyone's kind of happy where they're at and things are moving kind of okay, what happens if the Clippers get bounced in the first round? Does Kawhi bolt for, like, I don't know, New York, right? Does he sign with the Knicks or something? That's me manifesting good vibes in the air, yeah. But what if he thinks about our conversation from earlier and says, you know what, maybe I did fuck up coming here to go home, and maybe there are teams with better supporting cast out there, and maybe he was the other choice, right? It was between the Lakers and the Clippers to sign Kawhi. So I don't think it's that far fetched to think that they could move salary around, get a guy like Kawhi, and then bring in minimum contracts to buoy to buoy a big three. And
One
and so
one thing
yeah,
I will say, and I agree with a lot of what you said, but the one thing I'll say is this probably wouldn't be a problem if they had traded Kyle Kuzma instead of Brandon Ingram. Probably would not be
probably
that
wouldn't.
big of that big
But
of an
does
issue, but
look, I think the question there is, does Ingram become who he became, given without the kind of room to grow that he
oh
had
yeah.
in
No,
New
no.
Orleans?
He. Look, would he be the exact same player at this point? No, but probably now in the time where this year, especially, I think he probably would have had the room to grow because LeBron and AD were off and on injured like for a lot of the season. So I think this year probably would have had that year to that time to develop that room to grow, and it would have been I think a good hybrid situation for him. And then but again, that's revisionist history. That I mean, not revision. That's like a fantasy land at this point because
Yeah,
Kuzma was there and he obviously good player, very good player, solid piece,
great player,
but
great
but
player.
not but not like not the third guy, not
Not the
like
third guy.
not that third guy that you would want, right? But it is
Yeah, I would say
it,
he's a 3-and-D wing at this point in his career. He's a
yeah,
guy
and
who
that's
can guard the
fine.
2-3-4, and he shoots well, and that's kind of it.
You need that. Yeah, you need that
Yeah.
piece. Like the Warriors early on, they needed Harrison Barnes. It is what it is.
I think that's actually a real good comp. I think that
Mm-hmm.
Kuzma becomes he's not as good of a scorer as
Mm.
Harrison Barnes is, but he's that kind of guy who I think is going to settle into that role and stay there for a while. But he's not going to be the third piece. He's a great fourth piece. If he's your fourth best player, then you're doing the right thing. But I think the Lakers have a lot of misplaced trust in Taylor Horton Tucker's development.
Yeah.
And if you're he's he like I think that to say that they're just an outsized duo in Los Angeles, like that's what's going to make them is they're those two dudes. Is I think that for as good as they are, I think relying on their health is probably not something that you want to do.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.